welcome to the Rankum Podcast Reaction Show, where we talk about the list we just made. This week, talking our favorite and least favorite places that we have been in our entire adult lives. I guess it doesn't have to be adult lives. Could have been somewhere Don went when he was 9.
Could have been your childhood lives.
Yeah.
I mean, all of mine, though?
I've been in the past 5 years.
I've been in the last 5 years.
Right. No, pretty much me too, outside my top anyway. Also, Don, while this podcast was going on, while we were recording this, a pitcher for the Chicago... Voices? Well, there was that. A pitcher for the Chicago White Sox threw a no-hitter, and it was a perfect game until he hit a batter with one out in the top of the ninth inning. So I'm sitting here, like, watching this game, listening to Don talk about how bad, basically, how bad Albuquerque sucks. While this guy's like, did I really just hit a fucking guy on the top of the foot with a pitch in a perfect game in the ninth inning? God damn it. So it was the most exciting non-perfect game I think I can remember outside of Armando Galarraga. But
I was going to say that the perfect game that was ruined by the ump at first.
Yeah, Armando Galarraga, June 6th, 2009. Something like that.
Oh,
that's perfection.
That was awful.
There was almost one of those steps.
Again. Like recently?
No. In this game, a guy almost beat out a infield single.
Well, the issue is that the infield single, he didn't almost beat it out. He was a step and a half away from being safe, and the dude was just safe. Fuck this dude's perfect game.
June 2nd, 2010. I was off by a year and 4 days, but yes, that was a fun thing to follow. But and
then the best thing is that it was I don't know if it was a doubleheader, but it was a back-to-back. And so the very next day, same ump was umping the game, and the pitcher
brought out the lineup
card and was joking around with him.
And the dude was bawling his eyes out and was like, so he was real adamant at the time that he got the call right, and then after he got to change his clothes and stuff and watched it, he met with reporters and was like, I fucked it up. I fucking ruined that kid. I ruined that kid's life. And pretty much, you got to deal with that the rest of your days. So whatever. So Don,
it's not like that. Go ahead.
I was just going to ask how much. What is the going rate to buy the number one slot in your list? What is Baker Montana paying for the right to be your number one spot?
Baker Montana is paying nothing, and I wish they would, because honestly, I like Baker Montana more than I like poppy seed dressing.
Whoa, that's big time.
That's big time. It's such a nice small town. It's the town that we grew up in. I'm gonna say Rockford, Ohio is the town that we grew up in.
Uh-huh.
It's very that town with better internet and more bars. Literally, we got there on a Sunday afternoon, and we went to a restaurant/bar that Sunday afternoon as soon as we got into town. And the bartender was literally, hey, are you the guys that are here working on the car wash? It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
That's us. It was literally everybody knew who we were as soon as we got into town. And for the entire week we were there, not treated like royalty, but treated like part of the town. Everybody was super nice there. It's honestly my favorite town. My favorite place I've been to outside of the state of Ohio.
Well, all right.
Now, if Baker would like to also pay me money, then
I can make
up a couple.
You reach down on Twitter.
It's not all sunshine and gumdrops there. Don't get me wrong. The year before, when you look it up on Google Maps, they have this very nice lake there as well. When I went there, that lake was technically a state-condemned biohazard.
Something you would think they wouldn't leave out.
Because they had tornadoes that came through and threw a bunch of like oil tanks into the lake. So there's a bunch of oil in the lake. And so they had to drain the lake and like repump it and all this stuff.
I was going to say, because I'm looking at it on like satellite of Google Images right now, and I'm like, exactly what the fuck is going on here? Is it just a drought or what? And no, it looks like they drained the lake and had to.
Like if you see, like there's probably construction equipment out there.
Yeah.
And it was like a several year process. I don't know if it was ever resolved, but there was talked to the car wash owner that I went out there to work with like 2 years later, and he's like, hey, did they ever get that lake fixed? And he's like, you're not going to believe this. So they go out there and they're fixing this lake with backhoes, and it rains one day. So they like call it quits, and they leave like the dump truck and all that stuff out there. Well, it gets super muddy and everything sinks and they can't get it out. And then the weather turns. This is in like October. Weather turns and freezes. So everything froze into the ground like 3 feet, and they couldn't get it out until like April or May.
Oh.
Like, that's not the super dope part of it, is that their winters are like extreme winters where they get like 6 feet of snow 3 times a year. But when I was there in July, top tier. Maybe vacation. I
was going to say, Don's like, this is my vacation home. Doesn't even, like, I'm looking for like a Dollar General in this town.
There is a Dollar General in that town.
I was going to say, like, I imagine the Dollar General has built like 4 Dollar Generals in this town.
Like the Dollar General is, I don't know if it's called a dollar. There is a dollar store in Baker, Montana.
Looks like their high school football field has turf. That's ridiculous. So, if you were wondering what the official Baker, Montana podcast would sound like, it's this. How about that? Now that I have all the knowledge on Baker, Montana.
No, and you essentially do. I guess they don't have a dollar store. We went to Reynolds Market, which is essentially like a Dollar General. But they have like 5 hotels in this town as well, because of all the people that stay there that work on the train and work on the oil fields and stuff. Like, it's, most of this town is built upon the oil fields and the train. There's also a brewery that was open like the week we were there.
So it's basically just like a town from 1899 that is just like, we exist because the railroads and the oil fields.
Right, it's a town from 1899 that you gave fiber internet to.
You're all about this. They got fiber internet, man.
Like the hotel that I went to, I was getting 1,000 megs down in the hotel room. Like that's
nuts.
Ridiculous. And so, because I went there 4 years ago, it's my favorite spot.
And now you know that about Don. Baker, Montana. If you're ever driving if you're ever driving along and you think, boy, you know what would be fun to do is go to Baker, Montana. It's got the Don stamp of approval, and I don't know if it gets more prestigious than that.
No, it really doesn't, because I like to hate a lot more than I like to like.
Don's like, I want to hate that little town, but god damn it, is it charming. So
that's not Wilshire with fiber internet. I don't know what is.
That'll do it for this week's reaction show. Don, how can the fine folks follow you on the tweet machine?
They can follow me on Twitter at Donnie_G. Well, Garrett, where can they find you?
At Garrett Seawright. You can also find the podcast on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube at Rankum Podcast, and we'll catch you next time.